to gather, gather vehicles so they can rotate out safely.
Method right in the center as we saw them in game number 1. Knights moving over towards Lipovka. That's familiar ground for them.
17 is going into Pochinki again. I love it.
19, M19 up to Kuznaya Polyana.
Big is going to go Sosnovka as we kind of expected.
WTSG,
Novo. Ghost is going to go Milta. V5, we saw them in the farm area before. Going to go to the same. But especially again here, Method, 17. They're not giving up. It's going to be fighting Pochinki again.
I'm looking forward to this fight between Vega and Gen G as well. If the circles lead us to it, I think a bridge is going to get involved. Tell you who else is going to get involved. Esquire with Cameron Davis in game 2.
Thank you very much, Matt Hayes and Avenger. Wonderful insight breaking down game number 1 on the analyst desk. My name is Esquire, joined here by Cameron Davis, and we're going to be getting in very hot with this game number 2 of the evening.
What else is hot? It's still Pochinki, because 17 are still trying to go back against Method. Method did win that fight, but just barely. So 17, they figure that they still have a dog in this fight, and QMCC already getting a couple of shots onto Raffi. It's going to start this off, and I'm looking at Method's positioning, and if they didn't have 2 SMGs and 1 shotgun, I'd say they had the advantage here. But as far as the actual weaponry, Team 17 are looking quite good right now. Method need to make sure that they are taking this engagement as safely as they can. Gen G down here in Novo, going back into their usual spot. Everyone really going off in the area that we saw last game. I'm actually surprised. I thought that Navi only went to North George because of the plane route, but it seems that they're okay with taking that this entire game. They prefer it over Primorsk now that it's available.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's the thing. Maybe some things differed from when they were in scrims, and they're able to sort of utilize this now and loot up to their heart's desire in that North George Bowl spot. But around the map, though, we're starting to see, ooh, it looks like some action's popping off here in Pochinki. We expected this to fully happen again. Neither of these teams, Method or Team 17, wanting to concede this loot position because, after all, Cameron, there are going to be 10 games played on this map and just our qualifier stage.
47 Gamer running into that building to try and get that finish onto Chris before any teammates can go and get the assist. You have 8C there on the side. I was kind of hoping to see him swing forward and go aggressive and try and defend his down teammate, but he wasn't close enough to do it safely. He did find a scar, though, in the meantime. But I'm looking at Method's positioning, and I think after losing that player, they look likely to just try and retreat out of this. They don't want a repeat of last game, especially since, well, you could say it was a little bit lucky that they got as high as they did, considering that situation. But they want no part of any of that nonsense that happened last game. Let's look at this circle. Look at this circle. It's the same circle as last game.
It is the same circle as last game. With so much water being inside of the circle, we might see the land ratio in circle number 4 kind of be predictable again for these squads. And so the teams that are sort of rotating in for those positions, those prime positions early on, are going to be rewarded for that. But we're just going to have to wait and see. Around the map, though, Vega and Gen G going to have such a long transition once again. Going to have to keep our eyes and see how they sort of make their way up there. Certainly a lot of teams going to be standing in between them and the safe zone.
Yeah. Looking at Divine right now because they're one of the only teams who's still in this circle, as well as Optic. They're both in good positioning to try and get a good spot in this first circle. Trying to get those high points, get as much information as you can to set yourself up for success in the circles that come afterwards. Looking back down at Pochinki, Method have yet to fully retreat off of this. Team 17, they're going a little slowly, trying to stay grouped up just in case they run into anyone else from Method. They may not know exactly where everyone else is. Method, though, if they can't find vehicles, they may feel pressured to try and stick around and punish 17.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. This time it's playing out a little bit differently with so much of a standstill in that Pochinki area. But here we are in Milta. This is Ghost bread and butter. They love this drop spot if they're able to get it. And it seems like so far they're not going to be seeing anyone contesting this specific drop. They need to be careful because they do have a team directly to their east in Milta Power, which was, I believe, Divine. Is that where they like to go?
Nope, not this time
normally
around.
not this time around. But, I mean, they're going to be sitting very pretty with where they are.
We'll see. I'm kind of on the fence on Milta. It's actually been a while since we've seen a team that loots up Milta be consistently successful, and I think part of it is because there are a lot of loot spots around them that make their rotations out of the city very difficult. But we'll see how successful Ghost can be on this game. We didn't see them be that successful last game, partly because the circles 2, 3, 4 kept shifting away from them. They had to push into other teams. One game isn't enough to kind of make a full decision on that. But what is a full decision is the fight happening here. 17 has a full group of 4 pushing forward. They spotted a member of Method, but Raffi fighting back, takes a lot of shots to the face, however. He's going to stick behind cover to get that first
able to pick up here in the early stages of this game in Pochinki. He's going to be utilizing his only first aid right there to recover the health that was so quickly taken away by Team 17. But 47 Gamer going to be looking out this window, trying to spot out Rafi on the second story of that building. But meanwhile, across the map, here comes Tainted Minds. Benchu going to be making a... He's in the buggy and is going to be taking a lot of shots from Example.
Example and his teammate there on this trailer park compound. It's a good compound by itself, but I think the one that Benchu is going for is even better, getting that warehouse and those compounds just next to it. But at the same time, M19 may have put themselves in position to try and punish rotations in the early game, trying to get as much damage out as early as possible. Allergen, though, he's in a position to get some damage onto Vega. Kippy driving through, taken down to just above half HP. I don't know if anyone else from Ghost is in a position to try and punish further.
Yeah, it looks like Turtle's going to be popping some shots off at this Vega player as well. This is Vega trying to make the long rotation down from Sosnovka Island, and Kippy is going to be exploded in the vehicle as Balak rolls up to reap the loot.
Once again, not a very good early game for Vega, and partly it's because they have to rotate from Millie Base all the way to the north part of the map. Hopefully they're going to have a more successful middle game, stop bleeding players, but losing someone so early on a transition is always quite rough.
Yeah, always quite rough indeed. But here comes Victory 5, going to be making their way up north on their own. Ellison in the motorcycle, controlling that very well. I mean, it's so hard to control the bikes, but we see the pro players really being able to control the stability, etc. Back in Pochinki, though, this fight just continues to erupt. Up here to the north, going to be Nikki from Divine going out for a very northerly crate all the way in the water, but certainly he might be rewarded for his efforts.
I mean, he's definitely going to get rewarded. He's going to get this for free. Usually when a crate is this far up, no one goes for it because it's so far away, and a lot of people don't even see where it is. But Divine, because they were looting that northern coast, they get an easy cross to it. They know that it's a free path. They had a water bike, easy drive up to it, get the Groza, get the level 3s. Unlike Miramar, I know we mentioned this yesterday about the Groza on Miramar. On Erangel, it is often likely that that weapon is quite useful, quite impactful, a lot earlier into the game compared to the desert map.
Yes, certainly, Cameron. That is the truth. But back here in Pochinki, this fight just continues to erupt. Neither of these teams really wants to back out of this area, almost conceding Pochinki to the other. But here it comes. Shock's going to be wrapping around the western side, possibly trying to flank there up on the Church Hill. And the other three members of Team 17 going to be pushing towards Rafi. But off their back, 8C and the other members of Method pushing as well. Knight's going to be rolling up on the tail end of Vega. We can see Vampire and his teammate in the bicycle trying to make their own way up. Vega already losing one player in transition.
Everyone just driving forward on the rotations right now, coming in the southeast of the circle, passing Yaznaya, where MVP are still looting. But now back into Pochinki. Rafi still hasn't been discovered just yet, but look on your mini-map. Shocks up on the opposite side, setting up a crossfire. Molman has able to loop up and around, but I think he's still trying to find some loot, find some good weaponry for himself, because he is not putting himself in a position to defend his teammates. 8C, though, is swinging around trying to set up a crossfire between the two players. QMCC with the VSS trying to peek in through the windows. He knows that Rafi is up on that top floor, but he's hoping that someone peeks aggressively onto him. Shocks, though, on the rock.
Ooh. He might be able to spot him through that window. I'm not exactly sure if the X-ray is behind a wall or not, but certainly he is in a great flank position if he's able to spot out any of the members of Method. Here comes Moleman on his own flank, going to be wrapping around the northern side of Pochinki. QMCC, rather, going to be pushing out through the garage building, even closer to where Rafi is holding out.
Still slow here, and this is still not a good sign for either of these teams. This is a repeat of yesterday, or last game, rather. They're not going to be a good spot. They both want this engagement to finish as quickly as possible, but they have to go slow because they want to make sure that they are the ones that win it. Gen G, though, they don't have to worry about anything. They can rotate up from Novo all the way into the circle, and they've gone late enough that anyone in their way, such as Ghost and Milta, are now out of their way, and they're making their way in freely.
I mean, yeah, we have to talk about this engagement in Pochinki because, as we mentioned in game number 1, Cameron, neither of these teams are going to be coming out on top of this engagement. Sure, you might be able to walk away with more members alive or with a team wipe, but what you have to face with this far north circle is going to be so difficult to work with, especially given the Pochinki position on the map.
This is looking really bad for Rafi right now. He needs his teammates to try and come in and assist him. 8C's on the roof trying to find an angle, but they're getting so close to Rafi's building. All 4 members are surrounding him.
Rafi going to be looking around, spots out the member from Team 17, but that's going to be QMCC coming up clutch with the M416, taking down Rafi, and looks like 8C was connected on as well. Team 17 absolutely making work of Method here in Pochinki.
Yeah, and they're actually coming out a lot stronger than Method did on last game. So this is definitely giving back worse than what they received. Knights all took a lot of casualties, but it looks like Tainted Minds at WTSG and a bit of engagement themselves. The nade comes in. Extreme does hear it, fly into his window, is able to retreat away, but this gives Larson the opportunity to get inside the building, just the floor below. Vard going to be following up, got the two-man push up. Extreme, though, jumping out the side, going to be going in through the door, but having to open the door does give his position away. He's running up the stairs. They didn't spot him at all. He's trying to get the finish. He actually gets both.
What a clutch play coming out from Extreme 2G, the sub coming in for Tainted Minds. He completely deceives those two members of Welcome to South Georgia, hops off the balcony, comes in, and grabs him in the back. A complete black stab executed perfectly by Extreme 2G.
Ooh, the remaining two players of WTSG are holding the compound across the way, but they're not able to find the angle. Spraying through the window, doesn't find anything. Trying to hold the angle above the stairs. But Extreme is holding the angle that he knows is available. He's got his teammates just past him as well up the hill, but it would be a hard retreat. Or, oh! MVP Siege finding another player in transition. Allergen going out early once again.
That's unfortunate. Extremely tough shots to hit in transition on that motorcycle. But when you've got the skill being exhibited by MVP throughout this tournament so far, those are not going to be hard shots to hit. And here we go. Extreme 2G going to be looting off of the bodies from Welcome to South Georgia that he was able to capitalize on, leaving just Gaxi and Mirq across the road. They're going to be spotted out by Extreme 2G, trying to put out even more damage. And he's going to be able to, taking down 3 of the members now of Welcome to South Georgia, trying to make it 4.
Bahawaka does steal that kill, but it's still damage. 7 points are missing from Tainted Minds, but the fact that Extreme is able to get even more out of another team than he already has, Tainted Minds have got to feel good about this.
Not about this, and not just about that, but also the decision to bring Extreme 2G in as your 4th member for this tournament, coming in clutch here in game number 2. Back here, though, north of Severny on the coast, going to be XQuest riding on a caravan just directly next to where Navi Shade 1 is currently riding as well. So many different caravans from different teams rotating along this northern coast.
Yeah, this time around, it's going to be the east of Severny that the circle centers on. Navi wanting to stop, seeing if they can't punish XQuest rotating through. They may be able to get a nice shot on this last player, Z9 Max. He's able to go down below the coast, cover up a lot of his vehicle.
One more opportunity, though. It looks like Xiao Du is going to be coming in as well with so much fire, though. The information was given to him to wrap down to the south. Navi going to be taking some casualties in the process, though. It looks like Knight's going to be having the angles on top of Shade and Drainus. They've got to cover a little bit of cover, a little bit of defilade, as well as the car cover to work with to stick these reses.
Oh, Xiao Du gets taken down. He's trying to find some place to go away from the coast. But now he just leaves his team with 2 up. Optic right now taking another compound for themselves. Just south of Central, taking where M19 actually had earlier in this game. MVP are hiding in a little bowl just above the hill above them. But MVP, they're actually in a little bit of fight. You can see on the minimap with Gen G.
Yeah, that's right. And with this circle sort of shifting further up, we are pretty much going to be able to know where this 5th circle will be popping. So the team's sort of placing their bets, hedging where they need to make their positional moves. Ghost going to be gifted a crate just to the southwest of where Stauber Mountain is. Whether or not they push up to it is going to be something that we're going to have to wait and see, as Vega is directly positioned to the northwest of that crate. But back down here to Navi. The solo player Uba being left in this position as the other 3 members of Navi have pushed into Severny.
Running over a teammate, Gen G, not the best thing to see. Well, they should be able to pick that up. They're relatively alone, except MVP may have an angle on them. Nonetheless, here is another crate being dropped. Trying to find this on the map. Ah, there it is. It's actually right over Ghost. That's why I can't see them, because Ghost are blocking it, which means that they get a free crate. Trading out Allergen for this may not have been the most efficient sacrifice, but hey, they get an AWM, though. So they're going to be happy about that.
I think this is the first AWM that we've seen come into play so far, if I'm not mistaken, Cameron.
Gen G.
So, I mean, just...
Come on, guys.
Gen G having a tough time right now. I mean, they're running over their guys left and right. Wicked was dropped down. Loki now going to be dropped down. This is just sort of that PUBG-esque type of play that comes in. Sometimes you just have that happen, and you've got to move past it, Cameron. You can't let it tilt you, especially when you're a strong squad like Gen G. But back here in Severny, where we saw Navi kind of rotate into, there's some fire going to be coming from multiple different directions, from the south as well as from the west, as we have Mole Man trying to escape the blue zone, drop down to about 50% HP, coming out of that Pochinki area.
Yeah, the blue isn't doing so much damage to him that it's going to be really lethal, but you can see his meds, they're not the greatest, and especially because he can't run in a straight line, not just because of the hills, but he also wants to avoid line of sight on any potential enemies in his way. It means that he's very likely going to run out of meds before it even hits the peak of the mid game. Loki, Gen G!
Yeah,
Children.
I'm not exactly sure what's going on with him, Cameron. We usually, I mean, one knock, we might see that happen in the game, but this has been 3 now for Gen G, and that is not what you want to be having in these competitive games, especially when you're at LAN. They're going to have to change it up, try to maybe capitalize on those mistakes that just don't need to be happening. But back here, Tainted Minds still holding down in this warehouse, looking down on top of Optic. We already saw Extreme 2G from Tainted Minds perform beautifully in this game, but can the rest of Tainted Minds sort of pick up the slack and continue to push this lead?
Yeah, Benshu coming down to join him once WTSG left, and so they are holding a very ambitious split across the center of the circle. Is that another one? Is that? I don't know if this is a bug on the kill feed or if this is actually another one.
Yeah.
Okay, I think
it's likely a kill feed bug. So my apologies to Gen G if it is a kill feed bug. We're gonna have to excuse that, but it happens. And here comes our shift. Now we're gonna have our landmass fully encompassed. No more water going to be in play, and Tainted Minds sitting in a great position. But they're in a 2-2 split, and with so many teams nearby, they're going to have to protect each other. We talked about it yesterday. A 2-2 split is only going to be, I guess, good for your team if you can provide that support to the other duo.
Exactly. It's quite large of a spread, this one. But with this next circle, I wouldn't be surprised if the Tainted Minds members on the left side went to go join up their teammates at the warehouse that is dead central. Everyone else is bombing for that position earlier, though, so they may come to blows before the teammates can arrive. And actually, it looks like they're sticking around, but XQ, AK here, hiding just above Divine on the northern end of the map. Z9max actually does get finished off, though. I think he fell out of his vehicle and gets finished by example. Divine here on the north. They're still in the circle, but it's not a strong spot, especially with XQuest holding just south of them.
Absolutely, and then the kill feed, we actually saw Jukesy from Tainted Minds find a connection onto one of the members of Optic, Hypoc, inside of the shack, taking his helmet right off. This is going to be huge for Tainted Minds because Optic was the immediate threat directly down to their southwest. We can see more shots coming out as Optic is trying to send someone over to Hypoc to get the res. Meanwhile, though, back to the southwest, where Secret has currently been holding out. They've got to move just ever so slightly up to the north inside of this circle, but they need to be careful about all of their surrounding areas.
Okay, Valiate is there to get the revive on his teammate. And if they're able to get themselves situated in this position, I like this spread. I like this split from Optic. It gives them a nice control of the area around them. And considering this part of the map is one of the worst as far as hard cover is concerned, this puts them in an opportunity to deal a lot of damage, get a lot of kills, and hopefully climb back up and correct themselves from last game.
Absolutely, and here we have Gaxi, the remaining. Oh, and actually Secret's going to be crashing on top of this gas station where Gen G has been holding out. Extreme 2G comes up with a clutch mini 14 kill onto Loki, who had already previously been knocked in this game. Secret just trying to do whatever they can now. Gen G being engaged on by 2 different squads.
Yeah, and actually Gen G, they're losing players elsewhere on the map as well because their split is getting punished heavily. Chelator down now. Wicked's trying to trade back. Oh, but his teammate does get killed before he can get the trade, but he flushes that now. It's just him and another teammate, but they're on other parts of the map, not able to assist each other. Fortunately, though, for Secret, or not for Secret, for Gen G, on Secret's end, they only have 1 player left standing. It's going to be Check Shooter. Tries to pull out of smoke. Didn't expect to have this many angles of third parties onto him. And Secret was certainly punished for it.
Exactly. I mean, this is Secret's stand-in, as the name implies. Check Shooter, previously from a different team in the competitive scene, just trying to do whatever he can to help this South American team push on further in game number 2, but drop down to about 5% HP, just trying to retreat off of this. The pressure is being applied, and Wicked going to be coming up with a huge frag grenade kill, wiping out Team Secret in 16th place for game number 2.
Simson was also able to run across that field safely and get back to his teammates to stay as a duo. And they're still alive in this and still in the circle. Na'Vi, we saw them take a couple of casualties from Knights earlier, and so there's still a little bit of that standoff going on. Na'Vi themselves at the push, marginally closer to get inside the circle. Knights going to have a good angle on them if they try and do so.
Yeah, they just need to continue to watch all of these different lines of sights that could be presented from enemy teams. Certainly, their area that they're holding is going to be a tough spot to hold unless you have all 4 players in tandem watching those different angles. But as we see poke shots coming out left and right, we can see the tracer bullets coming from afar, trying to find maybe just a minimal connection, if any at all. Here we go. Team 17, the victors of Pochinki, I think it's safe to say that they are. Whether or not Method's going to drop back into Pochinki in game number 3, 4, and 5 of today, we're going to have to wait and see, but certainly I would not want to based off of how things have transpired in that area.
This next circle is good for Tainted Minds, M19, and Optic. Not good for WTSG, though, because Gaxi does get eliminated and they go out in 15th place.
Yeah, a lot of teams having a tough time in these transitions, specifically here on Erangel. But here comes Victory 5, going to be making their own transition in. They're going to be going across Gen G, Simpson, as well as Optic. Hetro are going to be finding connections onto Ghost, the other North American team.
Optic split. It's actually not dealing as much damage as I thought to Victory 5. But they're going to be running directly into Vega, so this is what it's going to be. This is how it's going to turn out. Landman trying to trade back. His teammates just got taken out, but he's getting third party from the north side. He is able to get one drop due to the help of Optic, but he's pushing forward, wants to get a revive onto his teammates. But no, he's actually going to toss a grenade into the shack.
Oh, he had a molly prepped. Will he be throwing the molly into here? He's got a frag grenade as well. No, he's got a frag grenade as well. What is he going to do? He knows that they're going to be sticking the res inside. The grenade is thrown inside of the shack. Vampires got to get out of there. Will they be watching it? And that grenade will be finding its connection. A
good follow-up by Shandy, the fourth player coming in, getting the assist there. Doing some heavy damage into Vega. I think there's still one player. They're going to be able to stick around in a shack, all four players. But Na'Vi, they take a hill. They go aggressive onto the east side, and they're dealing some damage to Divine, but Divine actually get a knock back onto them.
Absolutely, they do. Pokemon are going to be going down to JJ Leo's SKS. They've got a bit of Defilade to work with to try to stick this res. We can see Shade One just trying to provide this overwatch to Pokemon as he sticks the res. Extreme 2G still fragging out with that Mini 14, trying to find connections all around the map, apply pressure to teams to fend them off from crashing onto this elevated position that Tainted Minds are holding.
Knights themselves still need to get into the circle. There's only 2 players left, I believe. And there's not much left, especially because Na'Vi had just taken that position. That would be the closest one that they'd want to go to. Divine, though, they actually be able to stop the bleeding. They still have all 4 alive. They're able to get away from that compound that was outside of the circle to find some sort of cover on the northern end that is quite empty. Example, though, finding a knock onto Ubak. Crossfire from Divine and M19.
A little bit of a revenge being played out from last game where Na'Vi wiped out M19 to take away the chicken dinner. But here it comes. Uba going to be knocked once again. Shade picks him up this time. Pokemon going to be providing that support, but the 4-man strong squad of Na'Vi has now reunited in this little bit of a defilade on the hill. Just trying to watch their lines of sight. So many enemy threats to their east, to their west, and to their south.
They still want to try and deal some damage back onto Divine. JJ Leo just got taken down. And Shade is holding that angle, sees Levis come in, trying to get the assist, trying to throw some shots through with the teammate, but they don't find enough connections to stop that. So Divine, they are going to be able to get that revive. Drainaz also gets knocked immediately by Jet up on the northern side. Wicked gets taken out in the meantime. That's going to be Genji out in 13th place.
Tainted Minds really having a commanding start here to game number 2. I mean, they've been fragging out left and right, able to get almost a full squad wipe with 1 player on the Welcome to South George, now taking out Genji as well. But here is M19. Look at the position that they are currently holding, given the enemy threats down to the north. They're going to have that elevated position, the elevated lines of sight to rain down Hellfire, not just on top of Knights, but also on top of Na'Vi.
Yeah, such a strong compound. But Knights here, they're able to make their own way inside the circle, and they were a potential third team trying to shoot onto Na'Vi. But they don't want to stick around there. The angle is too dangerous for them to get third party themselves from other areas. The next circle is going to reveal itself. It's going to swing onto M19 and Tainted Mind still. These are the only real pieces of cover. Optic have that shack in as well. But look at this. Rotate for MVP from the southeast. Optic going to have to deal with this first.
Hetro takes out PNG. He needs to deal with Alpaca. Now 1 more player from MVP rolling in. He's going to be tossing the grenades, going a little bit further than his intended target. But here comes the push. Hetro able to get a quick knock onto one of the members, Otan, but it's going to be Alpaca coming in for MVP, wiping out Hetro.
Alpaca's going to be able to get the revive on his teammate to stay 3 strong. But they're not in the circle just yet. The remaining players of Optic, I believe it's all 3 of them in the shack north of them, can still deal a lot of damage because they have to make their way further in still.
Yeah, still a bit of a ways to go. 24 minutes and 30 seconds into game number 2. 12 teams remaining with 36 players alive. A 3-player per team average. Working our way into the late game here, Cameron. It's going to be extremely exciting to see which team is going to be able to powerhouse their way through and take away a top finish here in this game. Team 17, though, still holding out in the shack. Ghost just trying to avoid whatever conflict they can. Balak trying to snake his way in. He's got the level 3 kit. We saw him pick it up earlier. The AWM is still in play.
Maxazor running back for, I don't know what, because he's running directly into the circle. Oh, trying to find a bike. Okay, that's a good pickup there. Taking a bit of damage, a little more than he would have wanted to. But he's swinging up north, swinging counterclockwise. Unfortunately, he's going to be driving directly into Divine, who are on their own rotation.
Yeah, and also taking some fire from M19 as well. We saw one of the members of Divine pop out, but here it comes. M19 on the elevated position, will be spotting out Levi's behind the rock, pops him out of the car, and he will be going down and out. So many different teams joining in on this engagement. We've got Ghost, Na'Vi, and Optic all putting out shots onto Divine.
Look how little cover there is east of M19's compound. You can see all these casualties go the way of Divine. Ghost not in a strong position themselves either, having to use smoke right now, and that's only going to last a certain amount of time. Optic does get dropped by Victory 5, who are continuing to push up the hill. A follow-up nade. Don't know if it's going to go far enough to deal any real damage value. It's going to be there to get the pickup on Hypuck. Bahawaka pushing forward, however, and oh no, a nade just barely touches Hypuck. Baha gets dropped as well by Shandian.
Leaving just Valiate with 40% HP inside of the shack. He's got the smoke cover for concealment, just trying to do whatever he can to get these meds off with this impending push coming from Victory 5, but they will be spraying into the smoke, taking out Valiate and the rest of Optic Gaming in 10th position. While this was happening, though, we did see Divine turn around on the Ghost and wipe them out completely, so huge engagements popping out all over the map.
Yeah, NA teams falling left and right now. M19, they want to use this his position to their advantage and grab even more. You can see Bachelin leaving the compound, trying to find as many angles as he can onto approaching teams.
Here it comes, those shots coming out, crossfire all around the map. Players just trying to sneak their way in and secure a placement for their own squad. Pokemolodoy going to be behind an exploded car and a rock, trying to avoid these shots, but M19 still sitting pretty. Here comes our next circle shift, and it will be going on top of M19 this time. Tainted Minds going to have to finally move off of that elevated warehouse position.
Victory 5, they're not done. They just took down Optic, and they push even further north to take down MVP. They are out for blood. Tainted Minds will have an angle onto them. Subslayer taking a shot, doesn't hit, but it's still a strong angle for them. However, Tainted Minds are going to have to move into the circle themselves, so they can't wait around too long. M19, though, what a strong position. Still 4 alive as well. Bachelin, though, don't go too aggressive. You're going to run directly into Maxazor.
Absolutely, Maxazor's going to be ready, and he takes the shots with the Scar. Going to be finding its connection right there on the Bachelin, but is immediately taken down and out. Vega Squad going to be wiped in 8th position here in game number 2, but pushing on. Extreme 2G trying to rack up even more kills. Has 3 to his name so far, but a return fire being put onto him. Going to force him out and back behind cover to get those meds rolling.
They have to deal with their west side before they can continue in eastward. And 17 are being slow, you can see on the map, as well as Knights and Na'Vi up to the north. Na'Vi in a bit of shambles themselves. They have 2 players left, but they're totally split on opposite sides because there's just no real cover to block more than one character model in a lot of these positions. Little Lee, they're out for more, though. Landman actually gets a down onto Joshi, Little Lee down to QMCC, so that's 2 more downs to them, but 2 more potential kills so they can finish them off, and they are inside the circle as well.
Yeah, Team 17 having an incredibly tough time, but here comes the crash from Knights onto the compound where Tainted Minds has been holding safely for the entirety almost of this game, but that is going to be Extreme 2G and Subslayer coming up clutch with the 2 kills to wipe out Knights in 7th position here in game number 2. Pushing on now, though, we still have 1 member from Team 17 going to have to make their way up north from the south. He's got the attention from not just Tainted Minds, but also Victory 5 going to be looking down on him, trying to wipe out this team, trying to push even further on.
Drain is trying to go for some shots. He wants to get some knocks to give him some opportunity to push in, but not able to make those connections. An elite player, an example, chiming in as a duo to finish him off, and there's just 1 remaining player of Na'Vi, Pokemolodoy. Landman, though, laying some more shots through, taking out 47 Gamer, knocking Team 17 out.
Yeah, and here we are in the late game with 5 teams remaining, 14 players alive. The crossfire still coming across this entire circle. Every team now fairly alert and aware of each other's positions, now just trying to make sure that they have the optimal rotation path, that they're able to eliminate the threats that will be having lines of sight. But here we go. Divine knows that someone's over this hill. They know Pokemolodoy is up there, just trying to throw out whatever grenades and pressure they can to keep pushing him off and keep themselves safe, essentially, from their own push down from the north.
I don't know if Pokemolodoy is in the circle. I think behind that edge of the rock is on the opposite side of where he wants to be. Landrin going for more, still finding a connection onto Extreme 2G. Tainted Minds have to push out of that compound to get into the circle, and there's not a lot of cover there. You can see all those smokes that they had to use as well, but Landrin wants to go for more.
I mean, this circle just found essentially outside of a shack in this circle is going to play so strongly in favor of them as we continue on here in the late game. But Victory 5 now spotting out Tainted Minds. This is going to be a full squad engagement. Benchu going to be getting a knock on the Little League, but Landrin spots out Subslayer.
Yeah, 2 down for Tainted Minds. They want to go for more. Benchu needs a time with more shots. They need to find Landrin too. Him on that swing position on the west side is establishing that crossfire with him and the rest of Victory 5. Neither of these teams is in the circle, though. The only team, once again, that is in this circle is M19. Still in the compound, still inside, still safe, still such a strong position.
Yeah, and they don't have to move. They hear all of these shots erupting, and they're just absorbing this information until the time comes, and if the time comes, that they have to take these shots. Just holding your angles is exactly the way to play this out. Looks like they spotted out Extreme 2G, trying to get into the shack, took a few pop shots, applying some pressure, so now Tainted Minds knows that they have a bit of a tough transition up to the north.
They have at least one player in. That's the good thing for them, but they lost Subslayer, unfortunately. Example's going to be stealing that kill away, I believe, from Victory 5. Trying to hold another angle onto the remaining members of Tainted Minds. Bencher now has to leave because of blue at his back. But fights everywhere. It's actually going to be Jet getting another drop onto a Victory 5 player. Josh is going to be trying to steal that one away. He's going to be successful at that, but Jet does get downed himself by LSN. Poka now away. Too many shots onto him. Try to go back into the blue and remove those kill points away, but Kostanovic is too fast for him.
Yeah, going to be wiping out Pokemon and the rest of Navi in 5th position. But continuing on, Extreme 2G just trying to push 8 kills for Tainted Minds so far, and they are trying to get into the double digits here. Benchu going to be dropped quickly by example from M19, just pushing down aggressively on top of Tainted Minds. Ooh. But look at this. Divine in the ghillie suit trying to lay as a snake, spotted out almost immediately by Victory 5's Little Lee.
M19, they're all pushing out of the compound. They want to finish these teams off while they can. They're pushing forward. Nades come through. Don't find any connections. And because they're actually going to pull back, they don't want to commit to this too heavily, and they lose their premier spot in this circle. 9 players alive, 3 teams. It's 3 each.
3 each, and how are they going to be able to play this out? Certainly M19 still sitting pretty, but will the next circle shift out of their compound, out of their comfort zone, and force them into engagements? We're going to have to wait and see. 2, 1, here it comes, Cameron.
Okay, it's finally off the compound that M19 were in, just barely. There's a small little corner of a couple of the buildings that's still inside, but it's not very a playable position. And because of that, M19, they may decide to wrap clockwise around. You can see them trying to position around that area, going to be running through Victory 5. If they do so, but Victory 5, they're holding strong. They're trying to find a couple of knocks before they move in themselves. The only team with the real piece of this circle is going to be Tainted Minds, and it's only a shack, so it's not much to be able to play around.
Exactly. Victory 5 has the most ground to cover to get into the safe zone, and if any of the players from M19 are watching this eastern flank, they're going to be able to spot out Victory 5 like they are right now. Example going to be putting out some damage, gets the knock on the LSN. Can they continue this on? Are any of the players from Victory 5 going to rotate over there and try to get the res with only 10 seconds before this circle constricts on itself? They're going to have to figure out something, and it looks like they're going to opt not to get Ellison. They're going to let him bleed out and continue on as 2.
With the blue about to come in, there's not enough time to get the revive as well as the heal, and with the angle held by M19, it is not worth it at all. They're going to continue with just 2 players left. LSN finishes his bleed out, and they're going to find their own way into the circle, probably wrapping down a little further towards the south, trying to avoid that angle held by M19. That's not a solid angle, though, by example, because it's not in the circle. He's holding it while he can, but with the blue coming in, he's going to have to push in further with the rest of his team, going to have to give up that high ground position.
Absolutely. Tainted Minds still holding in the shack down the hill, not giving up too much just yet. But with this next circle going to be presenting itself in about 25 seconds, they might get pushed out now as well. Just kind of a standstill right now. These teams are separated enough to where they don't have to engage in any fights, just kind of have to sit back and wait for information to present itself, which is exactly what they're doing.
Ooh, example actually goes back into the blue for a split second to grab a vehicle. They want the mobile cover to be able to use, but the snake a little bit of something, and that forces Landrin to have to get the full standing run. Gets behind a tree, but Extreme 2G does still find Little Lee.
Yeah, I mean, get this guy a contract. Extreme 2G is putting out damage left and right. So much pressure being applied to these different squads, leaving Victory 5 with just 1 member to push on. Landrin, a solo player now, 3 teams remaining. A 3v3v1 situation, and at this point in time, Landrin can just hope that Tainted Minds and M19 get in a full-on engagement like is happening right now.
Yeah, it's a 1-for-1 trade right now. No finish just yet. Extreme 2G is going to get the revive on his teammate. A similar situation is happening on M19 as well, but the circle is about to close into the dead center of the map. M19 have a nice spread. An example finds the last main member of Victory 5, making it just 1v1 in terms of teams. Trying to find out Tainted Minds. Tainted Minds are all in one angle, but Extreme 2G finds another down onto Elite Player. Example's trying to swing down below to try and find a crossfire with his teammate, Elite Player.
Constantine just trying to recover off of that previous damage done onto him. It looks like Example's able to connect onto Juxi right now, leaving just 2 members up for Tainted Minds. Benchu connects onto Constantine in return, though, so it's now a 2v1 situation as Example's going to be wrapping around this in the snake position. He gets the ultimate kill onto Juxi, but it's still a 1v2 in favor of Tainted Minds for the time being. Extreme 2G and Benchu going to be wrapping around, just looking this direction, waiting for them to spot the head of Example.
It's going to be the spray down. He finds another one. Extreme 2G making a 1 versus 1. Benchu knows his general location, but Example knows where Benchu's going to be coming from. It's all in who finds the head first. Example finds the head of Benchu.
What a finish coming out from M19. The odds were in Tainted Mind's favor, but M19 clutches it up, gets the 1v2 in the chicken dinner, Cameron.
Example swinging down below was what they wanted to go for to get that advantage, but Tainted Minds taking out the 2 players above them, I thought it was all on them, but Example, still a 1v3 he ends up making it at the end, 1v2, and he actually ends this game with 8 kills himself. It's what, 13 overall for his team, but 8 kills on 1 player. He definitely fragged out this game.